Okay. Wait, let me hear myself real quick. Hello? Hello, hello. Okay, I think I heard myself. Brother. Okay. I'll wait for a second. Just for some people to arrive, I suppose. Hello? Okay. Hopefully, it says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. But hopefully it's working properly. Or hopefully it's fine. I'll look at it as I play. My sis? I could have sworn I heard Mia's voice. So then, she's still alive? Inside your heart? Nicky boy! Oh, Mr. Light. Is it true that detective is the real killer? Definitive proof. But he's the only one who could have done it. But wasn't he at Lordly Taylor that night? Not to mention, we don't exactly know his motive. I mean, why would Detective Atme want to kill Kane Bullard? Oops, it's almost time. Better get back to the courtroom. I need to find some solid proof. And it's gotta happen sooner rather than later. Oh no. Hopefully it's not lagging too much. Because I think it might be buffering a bit. Now then, this court is back in session. Mr. Luke Atme, please take the stand. So this is where we go against this guy. Well, well, how do you do, sir lawyer? I never would have thought to see you acting so recklessly. I couldn't let them hand down your verdict just yet. Not when it would have given you your perfect alibi. An alibi by the name of Master Mask. I'm sorry, I'm afraid even the great Luke Atme has no idea what you mean. Of course, I've been in the next courtroom ever since 10 o'clock this morning. I'm afraid there's no way I could know what's been going on in here. You've been in the defendant's seat all day long, correct? Being tried as Master Mask. Indeed, it's truly child's play to fool the ignorant masses. Not only did the poor fools ask me to protect their valuables, they even gave me a generous reward upon returning their own property to them. Take this red diamond ring that sparkles upon my divine finger, for example. So you continue to insist that you are, in fact, Master Mask. Of course. Very well then, Luke, Atme. Let us begin with this simple question. On October 12th at 1 a.m., Kane Bullard was murdered. Where were you at that time? One without knowledge lacks even the knowledge that he should be ashamed of himself. But don't worry, I will not hold it against you, Sir Judge. Thanks. Alright, Mr. Atme, the night of the murder. Speak! We're all ears. As you wish, Sir Prosecutor. This man. The alibi. I was stealing the urn as Master Mask, just as I announced I would. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. A photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. The time at which the camera captured Master Mask was the same time as the murder. It seems the main point of discussion will be this photo of the crime scene. Everything else up until now was all part of his plan. There has to be a secret to this picture as well. So I have to look at the picture. Even the great Master Mask cannot be in two places at once. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I have a verdict to receive. Unfortunately, Mr. Atme, we still have to do your cross-examination. A fool is too foolish to know that he is a fool. I think he's trying to say that you're full of it, Nick. The only thing that's full of it is his alibi. For reals. Okay, first let's look at his Or that picture, right? Where is it? No, no wait, no, it was the other one. This one. Check. Okay. So the box, um, you can see the painting here. So, and the time said 58, so it's like 1 or 12? Yeah, 12. 58 minutes after midnight. I was stealing the urn. Oops. I was stealing the urn just as Master Mass, just as I announced I would. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. The photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. The time at which the camera captured Master Mask was the same time as the murder. Yeah, around the same time. About the camera that took this photograph. Oh, come now, it's all too clear what you're thinking. Huh? You think I altered the timestamp on the photograph, don't you? I'm afraid that's impossible. The camera was set up by Lordly Taylor, and on top of that, it was Lordly Taylor's staff that printed that picture's data. Unfortunately for the defense, there's no way that picture could have been altered. I see. It looks like I'd better find something else that could be suspicious. So this alibi is false? It has to be, or he couldn't have killed Mr. Bullard at KB Security. But I'm not really spotting anything unusual. There are two possibilities. Either the mask in the photo is a fake, or the photo itself. Must be doing his job. So by photograph, you mean this piece of evidence here, is that correct? Indeed it is. That is it. The very thing that proves I committed the crime. The very thing that proves you committed the crime. When you think about it, it's really odd. You say that almost as if you had this picture taken on purpose. He was simply caught by the very camera that he had set up. We all have days like that. Indeed, it turned out that there was no such thing as the perfect crime after all. Life is truly an ironic thing. A sad blue melody. It looks like I'd better gather more information for now. He's truly the killer. There gotta be something phony in that photo. Here, let's press this. I believe Adrian Andrews hired you at one point? That's right. That was over 20 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. You sent the calling card to Lordly Taylor 10 days before the heist. That would mean you sent out the card after you began your security watch, right? Indeed, there was no reason why I couldn't do both jobs at once. It was the perfect opportunity to steal my latest target. Truly are evil, aren't you? Hey Nick, isn't there something odd about this? Hmm? Detective Atme was always proud of his ace detective skills, right? But if the urn was stolen from Lord Taylor while he was the only one watching it, he'd have no way to maintain his perfect ace detective persona. You know, that's true, it is kind of odd. Hmm. Isn't there something funny about this picture? I think so. Are you implying that this picture is a fake? look around the basement warehouse that night before the theft took place. Something in this photo that doesn't match my memory of that night. Very well, then let's hear what you have to say. What about this photograph do you find funny? Eh. Is it the pink splotch? The funny part is right here. Why, this is a blood stain. Ah, blood! Now this case is getting interesting. Not exactly. This stain is actually pink paint. Oh, just paint. And peach colored at that. From blood to peaches. The judge sure loves getting on his wild tangents. The problem with this photograph is not the paint. The problem is when you consider the layout of the basement warehouse. It turns out that something that should be there is nowhere to be seen. Oh, he's shaking in his boots. Well, Mr. Wright? What is supposed to be in this picture instead of the paint stains? This statue. The supervisor of the treasure exhibit stated the following. Well, there's a good reason for that. On the day of the crime, around noon, that golden statue just happened to arrive from the mountain training hall. I realized that the statue would be the perfect size for covering up the paint stains. That's why I put it where you first saw it. I myself was there the night the theft took place, and saw the statue in that spot. If this picture was truly taken on that night, then that statue should have been there. But when I went there the day after the theft, that statue of the old bag was sitting in the corner. Really just called it an old bag. Perhaps it was somehow pushed there accidentally? Your Honor, this statue is slightly larger than yourself, and quite heavy. It would take more than an accidental push to move it that distance. Ha! In that case, can you prove it? Can you give us the rhyme and reason as to why that statue was moved that night? Can you do it, Nick? Never mind who moved it. The real question is, why did they move it? I hope you are prepared with your answer. Who was the one that moved the golden statue on the night of the crime? Yeah, why was it moved? Surely it was... The one who moved the statue is none other than... Look at me! Come now, Sir Lawyer. There you go again on one of your strange delusions. What basis do you have for your strange delusions? It's very simple. The witness was the only one in the basement warehouse that night. That is indeed very simple. However, why would I want to move a heavy golden statue? The reason for moving the golden statue. Here's where our battle really begins. What reason did the witness have to move that statue? The reason can be found here in this photograph. Look at me, you pretended to be Master Mask to create an alibi by showing you were at Lordly Taylor that night. But this photograph contains a single, fatal flaw. If the statue had been there, your lie would be exposed like cheap film at a drugstore. That is why you had to move the statue. A single fatal flaw? Interesting theory. Please enlighten us. Just where in this picture does this lie exist? You gonna get him? Yeah. I think it's the box. Right. The lie is Master Mask. Are you saying that this Master Mask is a fake? You know, I really wish you would start acting more responsibly. Huh? The current question is, why was the golden statue moved? So what possible connection could there be with Master Mask's identity? Oh, buggers. Brother. Okay, I'm saving, bro. Swear this picture does this exist. I tried hitting the box. Not Master Mask. Is it the brooch? Or this? Why do you have to move the statue? Why did he have to move the statue? I want to click that, but I'm not too sure. Like the little... Hmm. Maybe it was the timestamp? Well, I don't understand why the timestamp would be related to it. The timestamp. I'll tell you exactly what I mean. On the night in question, Luke Atme went to KB Security and murdered Ken Bullard. Therefore, it's obvious. It would have been impossible for him to have been at Lordly Taylor at this time. But what does that have to do with the statue being moved? Remember, if you will, Your Honor, when was the statue placed besides the warehouse door? The statue was taken down to the warehouse on the day of the crime, and it was placed there in order to cover up the paint. Exactly. Luke Atme had already decided on the time when he was going to kill the victim, and so in order to create an alibi for that time, he took this picture days before the murder took place. What the? Of course, the statue hadn't yet been brought down to the basement warehouse yet. Ah. So on the day of the crime, Mr. Atme must have been quite nervous. As nervous as a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair factory, so to speak. Why? Because something that wasn't supposed to be there had been brought down and placed where it wasn't supposed to be. And that is why Luke Atme had to move the statue on the night of the murder. He did it to make the room match with the way it had been in his photo. Ah! Okay, one moment, Your Honor. Have you forgotten this? What's that? The data for the basement warehouse computer. According to this, the camera did indeed go off on the night of the crime. It's true that the camera had been set up by the Lordly Taylor staff. However, the program used to manage that data was yours. That alone would have allowed you to tamper with the data. Like the computer? Order! Order! Mr. Godot, what is the meaning of this? SMH my head. Godot, I warned you about making me wait. Now put that coffee down. My 11th cup. Okay, okay. Alright. We'll go back to this game. My 11th cup. I've promised to drink no more than 17 during a trial, which means I'm still good to the last drop. However, the defense has a very good point. A good point? So what? We are all but travelers on a road of infinite points. I think he's got his points mixed up with his other points. So you say this photograph was taken ahead of time, and that the statue was moved in order to make it match. That's a very interesting idea. However, there's one point that can't be denied. Which is that it's only a possibility. Men that are trapped by the chains of maybe can never reach their dreams. That's very true. Don't fall for that, Your Honor, you bub. Hey, Mr. Damask. Yes? If there's no funny business in your actions as Master Damask, there should be no problem with you telling us your strategy. So let's hear it. Yes, please provide this court with your testimony about your plan to steal the sacred urn. The sacred urn heist. I first received the request from Lord Taylor about 20 days ago. The urn was placed in a box, and Sivari! It was then sent to the warehouse. Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. I then handled security by myself to ensure that my crime would go smoothly. At last, I held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 a.m. on October 12th. That's pretty much all stuff we've heard before, isn't it? Yeah, but we will find the truth hidden in the nuggets of new information he gave. Witness, you're sure there are no mistakes this time? Savari. Very well then. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. I first received the request from Lord Taylor about 20 days ago. The urn was placed in a box, and Savari was then sent to the warehouse. I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. So you're sure that you had never seen the urn before? Indeed. You may ask Lady Andrews to confirm for yourself. My security was focused entirely on the entrance to that warehouse. However, I, look at me, let no information whatsoever slip through my fingers. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. Extremely valuable treasure? Really? You mean this calling card? That's right. That is, without a doubt, my calling card. I guess Mr. Delight didn't make this after all. Of course, because Atme knew about the emblem. Making this card authentic would have been child's play for him. I had then handled security by myself to ensure that my crime would go smoothly. Held the urn. And this is the photo that proves that, huh? Indeed. To be honest, even if a photo was taken, I didn't think it would matter terribly much. Hey Nick, if this photo is a fake, Detective Atme might have stolen the urn whenever this was taken. That's true. You know, he's been saying that he never saw the urn until that night. If we can prove that he's lying there, we can wrap this up and put a bow on it. I need to take a good hard look at the court record. There's only one thing we need to prove in this cross-examination, that he took this photo well before the actual night of the crime. How do we do that? It's one thing that Atme stated very clearly, that he had never seen the urn before he stole it. We need to prove that he's lying. I want to read this again. Take good care of the speckled urn, but it's not speckled. Mr. Atme, if you really are Master Mask, then you also wrote this calling card, correct? But of course. Is there a problem with that calling card? Allow me to read a passage from the calling card that Master Mask had written. Take good care of the speckled urn. Now, the speckled here surely refers to this pink pattern on the sacred urn. Yes, that is true. But, so what? Truth be told, there is no way that Master Mask could have known about this pattern. What do you mean? This pink spotted pattern on the urn is actually nothing more than paint stains. Paint stains? And these stains did not appear until after the urn had been taken to Lordly Taylor. I'm not finding this joke to be very funny, Mr. Wright. The day that the sacred urn was taken to the warehouse, the urn was broken due to a human error, or should I say, an error-prone human. Just roasted Adrian Andrews. And that's when the pink paint got on the urn. You can't be serious. And yet this calling card clearly mentions the paint pattern. Which means Detective Atme had seen this urn long before the crime ever took place. In fact, he saw it when this fake photo was taken. And because this photo is a fake, your alibi for the night of the murder no longer holds water. Witness, do you have anything to say for yourself? He's shaking. Alright, that did it. He's broken. Nick, I think it's still a little early for a victory pose. Huh? Oh, man. Ha! It's so sad. No one has any conviction these days. Conviction, you say? Yesterday, we all decided unanimously that this man was Master Mask. And now we're calling him a murderer. You don't think we're being a tad fickle? That's a good point. Don't fall for that too, Your Honor. You say that Luke Atme was the one who killed Kane Bullard? Then let me ask you this. Why would he do that? An excellent point. Motive, Mr. Wright, motive. Might you my merry murderous motive manifest? Nick, he's getting his second wind. If he prepared an alibi and pinned his crime on Ron Delight, as you say, he must have had a very strong motive for murder. The only one with any motive we've seen is Ron Delight. Isn't that right, Detective? Indeed, according to my own research, the boy's motive is clear. Without a motive, it's nearly impossible to prove guilt in a murder case. Now then, maybe you can enlighten us as to what the defendant's motives were. I'd be honored to, Sir Old-Timer. They're doing everything they can to make Ron look suspicious. Despite our lack of hard information, this may be our only chance. Luke Atme, had no points of contact with the victim whatsoever. Kane Bullard decided to investigate Master Mask and simply mistook who he was. It was Mr. Bullard who wrote the blackmail letter and sent it to Ron Delight. And it was again Mr. Bullard who harbored a grudge against Mr. Delight for his betrayal. Mr. Bullard's mistake is quite excusable. The defendant truly believes he is Master Mask. That is why Mr. Delight saw it fit to kill Kane Bullard. Truly a tragedy. So the victim Kane Bullard blackmailed the defendant? This is the blackmail letter found in the defendant's apartment. A handwriting test confirms that Mr. Bullard was indeed the one who wrote the letter. What? Very well. Mr. Wright, begin your cross-examination. Had no point of contact with the victim whatsoever. It's Mr. Bullard who wrote the blackmail letter and sent it to Ron Delight. You mean this blackmail letter right here? It says bring $50,000, and the handwriting is without a doubt the victim's? There's no mistake. We have an official report to prove it. But I don't see an addressee on this letter anywhere. An addressee? This letter was discovered in Ron Delight's apartment, and Mr. Delight did show up at the designated place and time. The fact that there is no addressee is irrelevant. I wonder... What's up, Nick? I just had a thought. What if that blackmail letter wasn't meant for Mr. Delight? Whoa. Do you have any evidence of that? For some reason, I just can't shake the feeling that there's something not quite right about this blackmail letter. Okay, well now I need to look at it. Well, everyone, are you quite satisfied? Blackmail letter. If you don't want your true identity revealed to the world, come to KB Security at 1 a.m. on October 12th and bring $50,000. If you don't, I'll take that red diamond you received the other day instead. Now, red diamond, you say? Maybe the one that he's flaunting right here. Maybe, because I don't see Ron Delight having a red diamond. So it might be intended for him. So we'll present this right here. Mind if I ask you a few questions, Detective Atme? Well, if it's just a few, I guess it's alright. When you said that this letter was addressed to Ron Delight, I couldn't help but notice one major contradiction. Contradiction? I don't know where a walking contradiction like you gets off saying things like that. You're one to talk. At times like these, men are made to express themselves with their fists. Why don't you show us what you've got there, Junior? Indeed. Time to man up, Mr. Wright. Show us the contradicting evidence in the content of the blackmail letter. Huh? Contradicting evidence in the what? Well, it's this part. Red diamond. So isn't there like a list?
Sucks.
Tear of Emanon, Crown of Bangora, Left Hand of Hades, Portrait of Megina. Who's still is directed by Blackmail Letters. Take a good look at this newspaper clipping. It contains a picture of the Tear of Emanon, the stolen jewel. What about it? The problem is this jewel's color. Color? I'm not much for discussing color myself. According to the clipping, the color of the stolen jewel was blue. However, in the blackmail letter, a totally different jewel is mentioned. I'll take that red diamond you received the other day. Red? Which means the red diamond described in the blackmail letter is not the tear of Emanon that Master Mask stole at all. And your point is, Mr. Wright? So you are trying to say that this blackmail letter was intended for someone else? That is what you're trying to say, right, Wright? That is what you're trying to say, right, Mr. Wright? Well, that is what you're trying to say, right, Nick? Yes. This is who Kane Bullard was actually blackmailing. It was... Look at me. Where is the profiles? Naturally, it was you, Detective Atme. Do you have some sort of basis for that claim? You have been personally involved in every single Master Mask case, and in the last case, you recovered what was stolen and received a jewel as your reward. A jewel? Probably the one wrapped conspicuously around your finger. That red diamond ring! Oh, he's shaken. That is the diamond referred to in the letter, which means that Kane Bullard wrote that letter in order to blackmail you. Ah. Order! Order in the court! Order, I say. It seems you've gone too far with your childish pranks, Mr. Wright. Uh-oh, I don't like the way he said that. Kane Bullard blackmailing Luke at me? Are you for real? Yes, I am. Nick, come on, stand up to him! Then answer me this. The blackmail letter contains the following passage. If you don't want your identity revealed to the world. Yes, it certainly does. Kane Bullard threatened to make Luke Atme's identity public knowledge. An identity he wanted to keep a secret. So just what was that identity? Atme killed Kane Bullard because he was afraid of his secret becoming known. What was the identity he wanted to keep secret? This is what it all comes down to. The identity that Luke Atme wanted to keep a secret was... a blackmailer. Because he was actually blackmailing Ron. Luke Atme was a blackmailer! Objection. Hey now, isn't that a little different from what you've been saying? Hold up! Excuse me. Hey now, isn't that a little different from what you've been saying? You said that Kane Bullard was the one blackmailing Luke Atme. Are you saying that Atme was blackmailing someone else on top of that? You have to admit, that does sound a little odd. It's not odd. It's the only thing that makes any sense. Kane Bullard was blackmailing Luke Atme. But Ron Delight was also being blackmailed by a certain someone. So did you start receiving blackmail letters after this incident? Yes, just a few days after the Tears of Emanon heist. After that, I started getting the plans in the mail. I received plans from some very kind person. Incredibly detailed plans. Detailed plans? In which case that would mean that Ron Delight was actually Master Mask. That is what we are claiming. Someone else came up with the plans and had Mr. Delight steal his targets for him. And that someone was none other than Luke Atme. Shh! Silence! Hehehehehehe. Now I see. It's all becoming clear. What is? When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Careless, with a tendency to jump to the conclusions. Am I wrong? How did you? You say that I, Luke Atme, was blackmailing Ron Delight? In which case, I would naturally know all about his relation to Master Mask. Well, yes. Ron Delight started receiving plans from his second crime onward, correct? Which means I learned of his identity when he committed that first crime. Good point. You certainly couldn't have blackmailed him otherwise. In that case, let's see some hot, bitter evidence. During the first crime, how did Luke Atme know that Ron Delight was Mask to Mask? There's a picture. There's a picture. I think I see it. See what? When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Gets into lots of mischief trying to be the center of attention. What do you mean? This newspaper clipping. It has a picture of you and Ron Delight in his guard uniform. It seems that Master Mask didn't just disappear into thin air. He just took off his outfit and hid it in a bucket. That sounds far too stupid to be true. Correct. With tricks like that, he couldn't fool a baby, let alone an ace detective. And that's when you figured it out, Mr. Atme. That's when you learned that under his mask, Master Mask was really Ron Delight. What the? Wasn't he supposed to be Master Mask? Not only that, it looks like he wasn't even an ace detective. I can't believe it. He was just a slimy blackmailer. What a fraud. Trying to pass himself off as an ace detective? Why, you? How dare you expose me like that? Why, I mean, I've never blacked anyone in my life. I'm a famous and proud ace detective and also Master Mask. Why can't you understand that? I'm afraid you are neither a proud thief nor an ace detective. You're a blackmailer and a murderer. That is your true identity. Why, you? How dare you even dare— Oh my gosh, she's talking so— Why not try doing something yourselves with those big mouths of yours? You're really fools. I say none of you can compare to my genius. So go on, desecrate me. What? Ha 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 ha. It's enough to make one laugh. He's gone insane. It would seem we finally arrived at the real answer. That was quite a performance by Mr. Atme. Bailiff, please prepare a cell for Mr. Atme. The hammer that strikes too fast has no time to aim. Oh my god. What do you mean? I'm already prepared to deliver my ruling. Allow me to say one thing. I will be the one to judge. You don't get much more in your face than that. It appears that your claws weren't quite sharp enough, Mr. Trite. What do you? It's true that you've proven a lot of things. Things like Luke Atme was a filthy blackmailer, and that he wasn't at Lordly Taylor the night of the murder. That's right. That's why he's the one who killed Mr. But there's still one thing you have yet to prove. What's that? Just because he wasn't at the warehouse doesn't mean he was at the murder scene. Therefore, if you can't prove that this pitiful excuse for a man was at KB security, then I don't see how a verdict can be delivered. No way! You should make a top 3 cases list? Bruh. Order! Order in the court! Well, Mr. Wright? I could try doing that, honestly. Like, maybe the last case of this game would definitely be in the top 3. This is it. This is the final round. I've got to prove that Atme was at Mr. Bullard's office on that night. Can you really prove that? That's long enough. Mr. Trite, I want to hear your answer. That night, Luke Atme was at KB security, and the defense... Can we? I don't know if we can. I can't prove it. Just as I thought. But, if we hear more of Detective Atme's testimony... Unfortunately, that's as far as you go, Mr. Trite. What do you mean? I won't allow for any more testimony. That's what I mean. What? Have you forgotten? Luke at me here is here after we interrupted his own trial, and you have failed to prove that he committed the murder. I think it's time for this witness to return to his own trial and face his guilty verdict as mask to mask. No. Well now, Sir Laureate, it seems that it seems that love wins out in the end after all. I am the ace detective as well as mask to mask. My verdict will verify that. Just as Ron Delight's will verify that he is the true murderer. I declare that with the full force of my ace detectiveness. Order in the court! That's enough deliberation over this witness. I can't believe this. Don't give up now! We still have tomorrow. We can look for more evidence. By then it'll be too late, you bum. Double jeopardy. One of the basic rules of any court of law. Double jeopardy? Should a defendant be tried and found innocent in court, that defendant cannot be tried again for the same crime. This is a fundamental rule of all courts, and it applies to this witness as much as it applies to anyone else. Mr. Atman will be found guilty in a matter of minutes, guilty as mask to mask, which means he will be innocent as far as the murder of Kane Bullard is concerned. No way. The fact that you were unable to prove Mr. Atman is guilty of that crime here means that he will never again be tried as Kane Bullard's murderer. Now there's nothing I can possibly do to win. Even if Ron is proclaimed to be innocent, the real killer, Look at Me, will go free. You have cross-examined every statement the witness has made here today, and as long as there is no more testimony, I'm afraid I have to declare that there will be no further questioning of this witness. Are there any objections? Yes. This is where we say objection right here. And I hereby end the cross-examination of Luke at Me. I think I see it. Your Honor, when you were a child, this is what was on your report card every year. Has poor hearing and often makes mistakes as a result. How dare you? Or how did you? Oh, I guess you knew that. Phoenix, raise your head up high. Have you forgotten what I used to tell you? A lawyer is someone who smiles no matter how bad it gets. That voice. No way! Long time no see, Phoenix. Yeah. This is the true power of the Kurein channeling technique. I know that it's really Maya who's standing before me, but right now she's my mentor, Mia Fey. Now, let's do this. But there's nothing more we can do, Mia. Without any more testimony, I can't cross-examine. Not yet. The testimony's not over yet. What do you mean? Your Honor, just now you said something very interesting. You have cross-examined every statement the witness has made here today. Yes, that's true, but unfortunately, Your Honor, you're forgetting something. Earlier, after the last cross-examination, this witness made a number of remarks. It seems that love wins out in the end after all. I'm the ace detective as well as mask to mask. My verdict will verify that, just as Ron Delight's will verify that he's the true murderer. I declare that with the full force of my ace detectiveness. Yes, but these comments appear to have no importance whatsoever. Very well, then we shall prove their importance via cross-examination. At any rate, as long as the witness has made these remarks, we, the defense, assert our right to question them. Is that alright with you, prosecutor? Is something the matter, Mr. Godot? Damn it! Nothing. Oh, Sir Lawyer, looks like you're one step too late. If you think such falsehoods will do anything to me, Luke at... Let's hear it. Huh? It's true that the witness made some remarks. So then, let's hear this last bit of cross-examination. Mr. Godot, what are you... Very well then, Mr. Luke at me. I'm going to allow the defense to cross-examine your earlier remarks. The defense would like to hear why you declared the defendant to be the true murderer. So please, give us one last bit of testimony. Phoenix, this is it. This is our absolute last chance. Yes, Chief! The last testimony. Indeed, it is true that I was not at Lordly Taylor. I had to leave to see about another vitally important job request. I had known about the date beforehand, so I had this photograph readied. My brilliant deduction was what informed me that the true culprit was Ron Delight. And thanks to the keycard and wallet, it was abundantly clear that he was there. I was also able to make a deduction from the buzzer, which only sounded once. The button did not have any fingerprints on it. Why? The victim would have left prints if he sounded it, which means the killer sounded it. Mr. Delight was wearing his Master Mask outfit, which is why he left no prints. And the blackmail letter? The victim likely just mistook the color of the jewel. Savari! Therefore, all the evidence points to that poor boy. This testimony actually seems to hold up pretty well. The witness's earlier remarks do not appear to have been hastily prepared. All of his points have been explained, and none of them seem to contradict anything. But of course. But how did you know about the emergency buzzer? The police investigation documents went directly through me, and I always look over all the documents. It's elementary, Sir Lawyer. Grr. Are you going to make even more trouble for us now, Sir Lawyer? I will not allow any of your usual shenanigans, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. We cannot postpone Luke Atme's trial any longer. This is your last chance. Hang on a sec. Just one chance? Ha! It seems that the party is about to begin. Well, Phoenix? There isn't any evidence that contradicts with that testimony. So it would seem... What do you mean, so it would seem? Listen, Phoenix, pointing out contradictions doesn't always mean you have to present evidence, does it? At any rate, this is our last chance. If you can't point out a case-breaking contradiction, you lose. That's all there is to it. Cup number 17. The last cup. It seems like the time has come to put an end to this trial. I have to find a fatal contradiction in this testimony, and I need to point it out without presenting evidence. So I need to press a statement, which means all I can do is find the contradictory remark and press it. Remember, you only get one chance. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Please begin your final cross-examination. Indeed, it is true that I was not at Lordly Taylor. I had to leave to see about another vitally important job request. I had known about the date beforehand, so I had this photograph readied. My brilliant deduction was what informed me that the true culprit was Ron Delight, and thanks to the key card and wallet, it was abundantly clear that he was there. I was also able to make a deduction from the buzzer, which only sounded once. The button did not have any fingerprints on it. Why? The victim would have left prints if he sounded it, which means the killer sounded it. Mr. Delight was wearing his Master Mask outfit, which is why he left no prints. Now, he couldn't have known that unless he was there, because we just found that out today. The button did not have any fingerprints on it. Why? Mr. Delight was wearing his mask-to-mask outfit, is that correct? Indeed, that's what I said. My deductions are absolutely foolproof. More like your deductions prove that you're a fool. I'm sorry, whatever do you mean? For some reason, I'm starting to get really thirsty. When exactly did we learn the fact that Ron Delight was dressed as Mask to Mask when he went to the scene of the crime? That was, it was just a few hours ago. Back when my sixth, back when my sixth cup was looking at me with a cold stare. Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? I'm sorry, I just never had a chance to mention it up until now. Yeah, sometimes I guess the stream kind of freezes. Hopefully it's not too bad though. That's right. The defendant had yet to tell anyone else this fact before this morning. Therefore, the only people who should know that this are those who have been watching this trial. Do you understand now, Detective Atme? There's no way that you should have known about that. You were in the next courtroom being tried as Mask to Mask. So then enlighten us. Just how did you know about that piece of information? Well, come on, this detective must have known about it. You probably had plenty of chances to find out beforehand. And it's those chances that I want to discuss next. That night, Mr. Delight was wearing his mask-to-mask outfit. There is one and only one way for Detective Atme to have found that out. Only one way, you say? Please recall, if you will, Mr. Delight's testimony. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Jump scare. For a second, my client witnessed the real killer. But Mr. Delight never saw his attacker. So there's no way to tell whether or not the real killer was Luke Atme. It's with that statement that I'll turn this case on its head. Just what are you implying? Mr. Delight saw the real killer, correct? Now if you turn that statement around, it stands to reason that the real killer had also seen Ron Delight. Impossible. Like we couldn't tell whose shadow outline that was. Detective Atme, you saw Master Mask at the murder scene that night. You saw him when you killed Kane Bullard and assaulted Ron Delight. That was the only way you could have known what Ron was wearing. Earthquake! Take a good look, everyone. Unable to find a rival worthy of my genius, I was forced to create one by myself. Here I am, the tragic clown. That's the same line you gave yesterday. But I think there's a little more meaning behind it this time. What an awfully complicated incident. Kane Bullard was blackmailing Luke Atme, who was in turn blackmailing Ron Delight. And upon killing his blackmailer, Luke Atme tried to frame Ron Delight. He then claimed to be guilty as Mask to Mask in order to escape his true crime. And to that end, he came up with this plan. To use the double jeopardy rule when making his alibi. At any rate, it would seem we finally found the truth. Excuse me. I came perilously close to besmirching the record of an innocent young man. Besmirching him with the title of murderer. Don't ignore me! Oh, I didn't realize you were there. Why wouldn't he be? About the verdict. I know, you never committed any murder. That's right. I'm so glad you understand that. But I, I really am Master Mask! Huh? So, thanks to that trial yesterday, I'm innocent now, right? Bruh. Uh, what was it you said? Double jeopardy? Now that you mention it, I've been careless. Careless? What do you think, Mia? As the defendant says, the rule of double jeopardy is absolute. A defendant can never be tried twice for a crime in which he was once found innocent. Then, Master Mask is really innocent? It would seem so. For now. For now. Bruh. We found him innocent as Master Mask, and we found him innocent as a murderer. So we got off scotch-free. Now then, this court finds the defendant not guilty again. That's kind of funny. Boy, this is really lucky. Wait, this isn't so good after all. You see, the thing is, I still am Master Mask after all. Bruh. I mean, we got him off. The confetti? Yeah, there's always confetti whenever we get a non-guilty verdict. I don't know why. You did it, Phoenix. Thanks, Mia. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Yeah, it's because Maya doesn't call on me much these days. Oh? I'm just joking, Phoenix. Don't take everything so seriously. But on the other hand, Maya, she seems kind of torn these days. You mean about becoming the master of the Korean channeling school? Becoming the master means saying goodbye to our mother. Misty Faye, right? Watch over her, will you, Phoenix? Of course. Well then, see you around. Bruh. Imagine being like a spirit, and you're just like, alright, see ya. See you later. Mia. Ah, Mr. Wright. I don't know what to say. Congratulations, Mr. Delight. Thank you so much. No, wait. Nothing really matters anymore, though, now that all of this has happened. Come on, just be happy already. Maya. You've been cleared of the murder charges and got off as Master Mask to boot! But, in exchange, I lost everything. Huh? What do you mean? Stealing security information from KB Security? Becoming Master Mask? I did it all for one reason. For her. You mean your wife, Desiree? She hates criminals more than anything. Come to think of it, she was once held hostage by some robbers, wasn't she? She always said how she hated sneaky criminals. I knew that, but once I got fired from KB Security and lost all the money I had, she wouldn't have any reason to stay with me. I thought she would leave me for sure. So that's why I became Master Mask? Yes, but it's all over now. A broken bowl can never be put back together. That's not true, right, Nick? Right. Really? Can we go back to the way things were? You'll be fine, and Nick can prove it. I can? I kind of wish you would check with me first. Mr. Delight, even if a bowl is broken, there is always a way to put it back together. It's true. Look at this. Look at this sacred urn. Broken and repaired by Adrian 2 weeks ago. It was broken twice and then repaired. The sacred urn. Desi was the one who found this. Desiree, your wife. She's always believed in you, Ron. That's why you'll be fine. You don't have to worry about anything. Ah, there you are. Miss Delight. You did it, Ronnie. You're innocent. I'm so happy. Thank you, I appreciate that. But, I suppose you don't want anything more to do with me, do you? Ronnie, why didn't you talk with Why didn't you talk to me about what was going on? I had no idea you'd quit KB Security. I never imagined that you were really Master Mask either. Miss Delight, what are you gonna do now that you know? You're not going to really leave him, are you? Come on, it's obvious, isn't it? How could I ever let a wonderful man like him get away? After all, my bike's really fast. So fast that there's no way it could ever get away. But didn't you say that you hated criminals? Hmm? Oh, I only hate people who act all cowardly and sneaky. Like that detective. I see. My Ronnie went and declared his crimes before he committed them like a man. I just love a man who's so chivalrous. Chivalrous? I knew I was right about you. Every day I spend with you is filled with thrills and excitement. Desi. Desiree, you really do love Ron, don't you? Nicky boy. Yes? I'm really glad I asked you to defend my Ronnie. Thank you so much. I'll never forget what you've done for us. Oh, well, take care of yourself. You too, Nicky boy. Gulp. I can feel my face going red. Mr. Nick! Mystic Mario, congratulations! Talk about bad timing. Mr. Nick, how could you? With another man's wife, in front of Mystic Maya! I'll never forgive you! Never! So just as the case came to a close, so too did my consciousness. Ron said a broken bowl can never be put back together, but I know that's not true. I mean, just look. Here's a perfect example of one that was put back together even better than before. Well, there you go. The stolen turnabout, the end. Alright, now I guess we'll look at the intro for the third case, the third episode. Just really quick. Recipe for turnabout. That's enough. This court sees no reason to further prolong the trial. This case is extremely clear. I see no room for misinterpretation for the facts. It wasn't me, I swear it wasn't me. The evidence and testimony we have seen and heard are conclusive. The victim was alone at his table when he drank from that poisoned coffee. No, you're wrong. I know what I saw. I saw... I saw someone else there. A man. He's the real killer. Look at this hand. It's like the meme with that one guy where he puts the salt on the meat. Kinda. Why won't anyone believe me? Well, I'd say that pretty much wraps this case up, wouldn't you, Mr. Wright? This court finds the defendant guilty. This court is adjourned. January 6th, 10:03 a.m. Alright, well. Oh yeah, it's January, so it's like the start of the new year. Alright, well, that's it. We can continue this later. I'll see you about Saturday or Friday. Wow, man. Okay. And with that, I'm gonna exit the game. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, no. Whoa, whoa. No, no. Whoa, whoa. Hey, no, no.
Ho, ho, ho. No. Bang. GG's. Alright. GG's till next time, Friday or Saturday. Till then, we'll continue the Phoenix Wright saga. Alright, see ya.